Hey everyone, this is Tim.
I'm Brooke
from Slingshot Group, and we love putting people in their place.
And we do that through staffing and coaching with nonprofits and churches.
And today we want to talk about being committed to just getting the right leaders on your team.
And something that's pivotal when you consider that is the job description.
Yes.
It's important to get that right. It's a jumping off point as you describe the ideal person for whom you've envisioned for your team, but you also don't want to confine someone to that either.
You know, one of our co-founders at Slingshot used to say, it'd be great if we didn't have to write a job description for a new leader until after 6 months, when we understand their leader's capacity better and how they're wired. Not really realistic, but I understand what he's trying to say.
Absolutely, because when someone joins your team, they are stepping in knowing that the job description that's been articulated is probably the standpoint they're hoping to jump into. However, they have a lot more skills, abilities, gifts, passions, experience that you've not yet uncovered even.
Job descriptions can lock us in, can buckle us in sometimes, and sometimes we need the opportunity to grow and develop.
That sounds just like the school bus analogy.
And
we have one right here.
We have a school bus right here. Tell us about that analogy, Brooke.
So first of all, it's crazy because we put our kids on a school bus and there's no seat belts. But it is a great analogy. As people join our teams, we want to give them room to grow, room to move, to change different spots and standpoints on the bus so that they have a chance to bring their voice to bear, their skills, their leadership giftings. And honestly, it can elevate our team when we give people the freedom to do that.
You take that analogy a step further, and kids love to move around on a school bus. Leaders in an organization need to have the freedom when appropriate to grow and to move around.
And they won't do that unless they feel like there is a culture safe for them to do that.
So you get the right people on the bus, you give them the freedom to grow. You know, I look at that in my own leadership journey. I remember a church that I was on staff at for many years. I hit a leadership lid after about a decade. Our senior leader knew that unless I had the opportunity to grow, I'd probably move on. He actually gave me the freedom to grow in leadership outside the organization while still staying within.
That's a secure leader.
And I also think about my own Slingshot journey and how many different seats on the bus that I've occupied throughout my decade plus with Slingshot too.
And maybe if you would not have been afforded those opportunities, you would have transitioned out if you felt like you were suffocated or your leadership was stifled.
So encourage your people to go new places in leadership, to meet new people, to learn new things. This is the language of the next generation of leaders.
And if people are given guardrails and have the freedom to explore and even sometimes fail forward, but they're still moving forward with the bus and the bus is still going in the same direction, so the team and the mission, it's all aligned, you never know what your team is capable of.
Yeah. There's a difference between me moving somebody around to different seats on the bus just to keep them on the bus and letting them grow into different positions.
Alignment's critical there.
So critical. Allow growth, development, movement, and exploration.
So what happens when it is time for a leader to transition out? They've had a good run, it was the great season for them, but what does that look like for the organization that's left behind?
Looking at what seats are now empty and knowing the kind of leader that you want to seek to fill that seat.
And it's not necessarily personal.
Right, it's not personal. Allow growth, development, movement, and exploration.
Because at Slingshot Group, we are always going to be putting people in their place.
But it's up to you to allow them to grow and help them love their work.